Welcome to Poems by Yas. This is episode 21. Today's topic is light. We need light in our life, especially from the sun. The sun providing us light can improve our mood, and the light helps plants grow and provides food for us. We also need light in our homes because if we study at night, we need a light, and it's very hard to live without light. Did you know more than 1 billion people around the world do not have electricity? So for today's story, I'm going to talk about an inventor. His name is Alfredo Moser. He came up with the idea of light in a bottle. So he took a plastic bottle and he put a little bit of bleach, and this provided lights. And it later, in 2012, came up with a concept called Leader of Light. So for more than 1 million people, for millions of people around the world, this concept now lights up their homes. And it's very affordable and it doesn't use electricity. And then I'm going to talk about another inventor. Her name is Salima Visram. She came up with the idea of a solar-powered backpack, which students from Kenya could use because they didn't have electricity when they went home and they were unable to study. So these backpacks allowed them to do that. So first, I'm going to start with my story called Light, and then I'll tell you the detailed story about the two inventors. So let's go to my poem. Light is important for us to see. The person who invented the light bulb did a great thing. We need the light in the sky and in our homes. The visibility of the shining light can help us feel better when we are feeling low. The light of hope and wisdom must fill us strongly so we can grow. In 2002, a mechanic, Alfredo Moser, came up with the idea of making light for his home without electricity. There was rolling blackouts in Brazil, so he did some experiments and he took the liter of bottled water, he put purified water and 2 cups of bleach to prevent algae, and he affixed it to the ceiling. So when the light would shine in, it would light up the bottle, and it would be equivalent of a light bulb shining at 45 to 55 watts. And he would install these for his neighbors. He came up with this concept, but in 2012, it was also launched in Philippines called the Leader of Light. The NGO My Shelter Foundation is now in more than 20 countries around the world, and they provide this concept of light. They fix the bottles to the ceilings with metal braces, and people that can't afford electricity can have electricity during the day from the sunlight that shines in. That's very convenient and very helpful for people around the world, especially if they can't afford electricity, so they can at least see and do daily tasks that they need to do. I believe everybody in the world should have light and electricity. Everybody has the right to study. That's what I think, but it's not the case because some people can't afford electricity, and in the nighttime they don't have electricity to study, especially in Kenya. So Salima Visram, she went to McGill University. She studied there in Montreal, and she came up with the idea of the solar-powered knapsack. So she made these solar-powered knapsacks, and she distributed it in Kenya. So the kids in Kenya would carry these knapsacks when they would walk to school. So when it's sunny outside, the knapsack would charge. So if they walk to school for 1 or 2 hours, they're outside and the knapsack is charging. When they go home at night, they can use that knapsack, use solar power, LED energy, and they can study in the nighttime. So they have that opportunity for education. So her concept has helped a lot of people in the communities that couldn't afford to have electricity and they couldn't afford to study, and it gave them a great opportunity. So it makes us think that even like an idea that you have, you realize that it's something so simple like light. How can we give people light? And that's how they can actually get an education. We hear a lot about the warm rays from the sun being harmful to our skin. So it's good when we're outside for a long period of time and have sun exposure to put on sunscreen. I use these little bottles and I put sunscreen in it. I bought these from Dollarama and I labeled it because I find it easy to put in the purse or a knapsack, and so it's easy to use on the go. The World Health Organization said that it's good to get at least 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight 3 times a week so that you can absorb the vitamin D. And did you know when we get a good amount of sunlight, our brain releases a chemical called serotonin, and that can help uplift our mood. So when we don't get enough sunlight, especially in the winter time, when there's not a lot of sun, sometimes our mood won't be as good. There's also some evidence in some studies that say low serotonin levels can lead to major depression or seasonal depression. So sometimes the mood is not so good in the winter time. There's a concept called phototherapy, and it's like light in a box, and people use this, and it stimulates like similar to light from the sun, so people can have some improved mood during the winter time. I think that it's good that we have sunlight because it can improve our vitamin D if we go out in the sun, and it can help improve our mood, getting the fresh air. Write a comment of what you like about the sun and getting fresh air, and tips that might help other people. I'd like to hear about it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Poems by Yas, and next week I'm going to talk about true karma. So I'm going to read my poem, True Karma, and share my story.